Hello, so I was tagged by PertweeSmith11 to share with you my most prized piece of Doctor Who merchandise, and I think this is a really nice idea, so thank you to him for tagging me. But as he said in his video, which you should definitely check out if you haven't already, because it's awesome, it's very difficult to choose just one from such a varied range. Somehow I've managed to pick one that I adore though, but first, some honourable mentions. Starting with this is the first edition of the Doctor Who Visual Dictionary, which was also the first Doctor Who reference book I ever got. My dad actually encouraged me to get this because he was a fan of DK, the publishers, and it was a very good choice. I used to carry this with me everywhere, hence the paint on the top. I mean, it's not the best reference book, there are better ones out there, and it's very outdated now, but I absolutely love it, so it's on my list. And of course, I have to mention the classic moment Zygon, who is by far one of the best purchases I've ever made, because he's a Zygon, and he's gorgeous. As Zygons are my favourite monster ever, this had been at the top of my wish list for a very long time, and when I got one of my first paychecks, this was actually one of the first things I purchased, because he's just so beautiful. I'd love to get some more ornamental figures to go alongside him at some point, the Robert Arab Zygon as well, because at the moment he is my only statue type figure, but I'm not complaining, and I'm very, very pleased to own him. And more of a recent purchase, which is the gold-plated Dalek cookie jar, because it's stunning. I managed to get this on eBay in the box, in perfect condition for a really good price, and it's just so nice to look at. Look at it. And then there's this, which is my little battered book of autographs. The majority of them are Doctor Who, from before I started getting prints and merchandise signed at conventions. I used to carry this around with me, so it's got autographs from some of the first conventions I ever went to, which were Midnight and Return to the 11th Hour. It's also got a couple of Sherlock autographs in. My favourite one in here though is probably this one from Peter Capaldi, which I was able to get at the Doctor Who World Tour, and I got squashed by loads of people getting this, so yeah, this book holds a lot of awesome autographs and fun memories. Even though it doesn't have all my autographs in, it's definitely something I cherish. And now moving on to my most prized Doctor Who possession, and that is actually another autograph. This is my Matt Smith one. This little bit of notebook paper, which I stuck onto a Doctor Who Adventures poster to make it look more presentable. As you can see, it's essentially just a scribble on a bit of scrap paper. It's not personalised, but I love it. I managed to get this when I went to see Unreachable, which was a play in London in 2016, which Matt Smith was starring in. Due to travel constraints, we had to go to the matinee performance, which is obviously earlier on in the day. And I think partly because of this, Matt Smith didn't stay out very long at stage door, because understandably he had another performance later on that evening. So he wasn't taking any photos, but he did very kindly sign autographs for everyone who was waiting. For some reason, even though I was literally waiting at stage door and this was always my plan, I wasn't prepared for getting an autograph, but thankfully we managed to find a bit of scrapbook paper, and he borrowed a Sharpie off of someone else who was waiting, and that's the story of how I got this scribble. It's a lovely memento of the day, as the play was great, and I'm very grateful that Matt Smith even came to the stage door at all, as he is my favourite actor, so that's why I've chosen this as my most prized item in my collection. I tag anybody else who hasn't done this yet, or anybody who wants to, because it was really fun looking back at parts of the collection I haven't explored in a while, and then sharing the stories behind them with you. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video.